it's Amber Marie from Forging Foundations. Today I'm bringing a video all about the curriculums I'm using this upcoming school year, the 2018-2019 school year. We have just started our school year this past Monday. We do a year-round schedule, so July 23rd was our first day of school, and I will be showing you today the language arts, the math, and the handwriting curriculums I'm using this school year. Science and social studies are kind of taken care of through Classical Conversations, which is a co-op I am part of, and that doesn't start till the end of August, early September. So the beginning of the school year I will be focusing mostly on language arts, math, and handwriting, and that's what I will be showing you today. So let's go ahead and take a look. First, we have handwriting, and we start our normal school routine with handwriting. So I always have my son, and this is more of an independent activity for him as I finish up getting things cleaned up or anything like that. So we start with a name book. This year I made a name book to just kind of get a little more of what I want. I can always put it in the freebie members library on my website if people are interested, but just to kind of show you a little bit of what it looks like. Very simple. As you can see, I put term 1 at the top because I'm going to do a book for each term, and I have 4 terms during the school year. And basically on both sides there's a today's date, and as you can kind of see, I think next time when I print the next one I'm going to use a little thicker paper because it is, you can see the other side through the paper. So but I put today's date is, and this is kind of practicing along with the Good and the Beautiful calendar, but just to kind of show you, I just write the day of the week. Sorry, I don't want to really show my son's name, but write the day of the week, and then I also do the date, not the actual full date like the month, the year, or the month, the day, and the year, but just the full thing. But each day he does one, and then he writes his name 3 times. Now, we're still working through our Handwriting Without Tears book over here, the first level, the kindergarten level, which is letters and numbers for me, and he hasn't actually gotten to the lowercase letters yet. So in the beginning of this book, I really have him practicing just writing his name in all caps because those are the letters he knows. But then as we finish this book, most likely we'll finish it around the beginning of term 2, and we start moving into this book, he will have had practice with uppercase and lowercase, or capital and lowercase letters, and I will have him start writing in the second term book, starting with a capital letter and then lowercase letters for the rest. So that's what he starts with, and then we go into the handwriting, and as you can see, we're on lesson, let me check, 31 is 21. So we still have a while to go in this book, and then once we finish this book, I'll probably give them some sort of assessment, and then we'll move on to the next book. So for the handwriting, we are using the Handwriting Without Tears curriculum, and again, this is the kindergarten level, and then I have the 1st and the 2nd grade level here. This is the 1st grade level and the 2nd grade level. Depending on how he does, these get a little more difficult because they have more sentences that they have to copy towards. That's really the end of it. So that would be, but if we look further in the beginning, like you can see, they're doing words and review of letters. They start off with just words, and then they start getting into the sentences, and they start with shorter sentences, and then work into longer sentences where they actually like write a story or write, you know, a paragraph or a long sentence. So I'm still deciding on whether we'll move from this one to this one this year, but I will definitely be doing these 2 for sure. But with this one, if you look, I mean, just give you a quick look inside. They start off with very long sentences, paragraphs, and things like that. So depending on how my son's doing, we might try and tackle this, but again, I'm not going to push him. It is his kindergarten year, but I'll see, I'll update you guys on the handwriting, but for sure we'll be using these 2 this year, and maybe we'll get the Good and the Beautiful handwriting curriculum if we decide not to do this one this year. And then I just wanted to show I am going to be doing some art work with my son, specifically focusing on the drawing. And this book was really recommended to me. This is Draw Right Now, and what it does is it's a drawing and handwriting course for kids. And inside they have pictures or different instructions on how to draw animals. And this one I think is just focused on animals. Critters, yeah, on the farm, kids and critters, story characters. So it's all going to be around farm animals and farm stories and things like that. But it starts off with very simple drawings, and then you get further along and they get into harder pictures that they have to draw, and then they can write the sentence or practice the story that they're doing. So one thing I like about this book is it shows them how to draw it. They have this thing over here kind of talking about the picture. And as my son gets further along in the primer, level K primer, and the level K Good and the Beautiful reading curriculums, I believe that he'll be able to read some of these sentences. But one thing I plan on doing is having him learn to draw it in this book called My Writing Book. It's a Fontes and Pinnell book that I actually had left over from when I was teaching. And so it's just blank pages. You can get ones where it has like a blank space and then lines down here. I think you can pick these up from Lakeshore Learning or probably online on Amazon. If I find them on Amazon, I'll go ahead and link them in the description box below. But it's just going to be the book that we do our drawings in, and then I'll have him practice some of the key words of the different animals. So like for this first one, it's a hen. He knows the sounds for H-E, and we're going to be learning N soon, so we can practice spelling hen and writing sentences with hen too. So this is something I'll be doing mostly in the afternoon. We kind of break up our school day into two parts. Morning is handwriting, language arts, and math, and then in the afternoon when my youngest is sleeping, we'll do art and classical conversation stuff, which I'll show later. So for our math curriculum, we are doing the Good and the Beautiful Level K math, which is brand new. It just came out in June. I did do a two-part series on this, which I will link those videos below, and I will put a little box up in the video screen. I did want to mention that in the videos, when I was talking about that, along in my planning video, which I will link as well, in the planning video I mentioned I was going to be doing 3 days a week of this math to kind of space it out. If I show you now, I actually am going to do 4 days a week. So the 3 days a week got me down to right about here. And what I found was there's a few weeks during the school year where we're going to be busy traveling or packing, and so I didn't want to have such a little bit of overflow. As you can see, there's a lot of overflow here, but there's going to be weeks that we miss, so it's gonna move closer down to here. This is my scope and sequence, which you can also see in my planning video. This one again looks a lot different than the one I showed in my video, because I think I had it going 5 days a week, and then I decided that I would try 3 days a week, and then it was like, you know what, just go with the 4 days a week they suggestion here. They do say it'll take about 30 weeks if you do 4 days a week. My school year is 40 weeks, so there's a 10-week gap there. But again, like I said, this upcoming school year, although I planned year-round, I feel that I'm gonna have more breaks in there than usual because of some things happening in our life, such as a new baby in September and all that. So I just wanted to plan ahead and kind of leave some space so that when we get to those points where we have a week, I'm not stressing about the fact that I only have 2 weeks left of overflow. So also another change that you kind of see here is that I originally had it starting with a Becca, which I was using last school year, but after looking through, and I kind of mentioned this in my video for the Good and the Beautiful math, I did mention that I was just going to start the school year with this because I loved it so much. So be sure to watch those videos. For our language arts this year, we will be doing the Good and the Beautiful Level K primer and Level K. I did start the Level K primer last year and we're about halfway through it. So there's only 35 or 34 lessons in the Level K primer. It is the level right before Level K, and the level before this is the pre-K. I would suggest that if you're doing the Level K primer, it's more of a kindergarten curriculum for sure. The Level K is upper kindergarten, lower first grade. So if you're not sure, there's placement assessments on her website, but I would suggest it starting with the Level K primer. It's a very good curriculum. I really like it. My son really likes it. But the Level K primer comes with the course book and a reader. If you've watched my video, and if you haven't, I'll link it below. But I do use alphabet magnet letters, which you can see in the video, along with I created my own phonics cards, which you can see in the video as well. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that since this is just a look at the curriculums I'm using. But I'm going to finish the Level K primer, and then we're going to move into the Level K, which comes with a course book and a reader, and along with little mini books, which I've only kind of gotten through 5 of them assembling. You do have to assemble these yourself. So just a heads up about that. When you order the curriculum, you will have to assemble 30 mini books. They're pretty easy to assemble. Just watch a show while you're doing it or something. And then they do come with phonics cards too, which I've already taken out what I need for Level K, but just to kind of give you a quick look. They are yellow, and they're a nice little laminated cardstock, but they suggest to have 7 to 10 cards in the learning bag, and they tell you how to separate this. And again, when I will do a video walkthrough of the Level K as we get closer to it in our curriculum or our school year. If I'm looking correctly, we'll be starting that around week 12. So that is right at the beginning of our second term. So probably around October. So probably beginning of October, I will go ahead and do a video on this curriculum and how we're using it, and maybe show a reading day in the life with that as well. And then one thing I am also doing as filler, and if you follow Grace and Grit, Ashlee at Grace and Grit, you know that filler for her is not busy work, is more as just practice, independent review, that kind of thing. And she's the one that kind of showed me Explode the Code. And one of the things I'm going to do with this is if there is a day or a week where we do not have time for a full lesson out of one of these 2 course books or curriculums, then I'll go ahead and I'll have my son do one of the pages or 2 or 3 pages from here. Just especially for traveling in the car, this is something simple he could do for long trips to kind of just review if we're not going to have a week where we have enough time to do a lesson. And also the week that our 3rd child is due, our little girl, that will be something he will do instead too, rather than me sitting down and teaching him, since I'll be adjusting to 3 children. So that's kind of another thing. Again, this is not going to be our main curriculum. I did get course the primers A, B, and C, because I didn't know how long these would take my son if we use them as filler, but I just wanted to have all 3 of them on hand. That way I have what I need for next year too if we don't finish these all. So, but they are not going to be the main curriculum we're using for language arts. They are extra, which I don't think you need, but as I'm trying it out, I figured I'd have something a little there. But this will be the main curriculum, the Good and the Beautiful Level K primer and the Good and the Beautiful Level K. So that's our language arts. I did want to show you that I am going to be using the Foundations Guide along with the co-op that I go to for classical conversations to teach the science and math. And this school year is cycle 1. If you want to learn more about classical conversations, I have a post on it on my site, but I'll also put their link below. But it's a classical approach to education through memorization and things like that. So as you can see, this cycle is all about ancient kingdoms. So my son will be learning about history sentences that deal with the ancient kingdoms such as Egypt, events and people in chronological timeline, dealing with people from the beginning of time and on. Then we do geography, which is another thing I really like about classical conversations. I don't have to do that on my own at the moment. And then we get science facts. They also do US presidents. And there's some other things like the multiplication tables, prepositions, and Latin nouns and endings. So these, I mean, these are great, but this is kind of what I was talking about when I don't worry about the fact that I need a second history or science curriculum. I really just use the classical conversations for right now because it does do a great job of introducing my son to those different things. So just wanted to kind of give you a look at that. Thank you so much for watching my video on our curriculums for this upcoming 2018-2019 school year. Please be sure to leave any comments below if you have questions or if this is helpful for you, along with liking the video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future videos. So be sure to check back or subscribe, and I'll see you next time.